nothing's happening. Oh, there we go. I really do like that intro music. It's like it gets you pumped up. You're like, woo!
I had a full dance party over here.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Welcome again to another episode of Lunch Talk. It is November 4th, the year of our Lord, 2021. All right, that's what I'm going to do real quick. If you are watching, do us all a favor, drop a hashtag live in the chat box right now, and do me a favor, share this to your page. Let others know what's going on. We're doing some things as we're learning how to get this program out to you and using the event process that LinkedIn has created. That's one of the things I think we absolutely love to do is we love to figure out how to get this to work for you. So you don't have to, I'm talking to our clients and customers. But anyways, we have a great show coming on today. Krista, how was your week?
It was so good, friend. We were in Vegas playing some, club baseball. My son hit his first home run over the fence.
Nice. Little round of applause, Donnie.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And then, as you know, we go back to the grind. I put on my fanciest shirt for you. I brushed my teeth and combed my hair, and here we are.
Awesome. Well, we had an incredible series last month that I'm looking forward to really touching base on. I'm going to go ahead and post this real quick. I'm going to drop this in my personal page on LinkedIn. We're live right now. I'm going to go ahead and let all you guys know where the link is so that you can jump in. But yeah, it has been incredible, the feedback that I've gotten. And one of the things I do appreciate about LinkedIn, it's a little different than most of the other social medias out there, is the way that it kind of creates more of a personal engagement, right? And the thing that I've noticed is we get a lot of folks that are watching and not a lot of folks that are commenting, and that's okay. I definitely want to hear more from you in the audience and the people that are watching, because this is how we know what we're going to be talking about next. You see, when you're facing certain aspects and challenges, this is definitely going to be what we want to talk about, what we want to get going, and the guests that we're going to be working on. Krista, you're behind the scenes. You see the work we're doing. We've got some great guests coming up.
Oh, it's going to be, if you guys have enjoyed what we've done in the last few weeks, you've got a real treat coming your way. I mean, the fire, the power, the excitement, the different perspectives and angles that are going to be brought to the table here. Y'all, hold on to your seats. It's going to be a really good time. Yeah,
I'm definitely pumped. I'm pumped about it. So I can tell you right now, we have confirmed for next week. We have Buddy and Nikki Cummings. These are seasoned entrepreneurs that have been in the industry, specifically in the renewable energy space. Both of them are in coaching levels now. And I had the pleasure of spending some time on the phone with Buddy this week. Man, he's got some fire. I love his attitude. I love his passion. And he'll be coming in as we get more in depth on the conversations that we're going to be getting into. And that's really what I kind of want to lead us into that, Krista.
Yeah.
Because really, I think goals, habits, and creating the right company culture, the positive company culture around you is so critical. And it's either going to be an obstacle that allows you to reach these goals, right? Or it's going to be the fire that gets you across the line on these. When it comes to habits, this is something I know you are an expert in. This is what you do. You help women break through old habits. Just share a little bit about what you've seen as the importance of these small habits that need to be changed before even setting goals. Or am I saying that right? Help me out here. This is your space.
No, totally. And so I think a lot of times there's a lot of books out there, and I won't mention them specifically because I do think that they're great books. But the idea is that the goals that we set have to be audacious and huge, and they have to have so much volume and impact, and that they have to flip our world upside down in order for us to get to where we want to go, to get to the mountaintop, to get to the weight loss, to get the promotion. And so that's freaking intimidating for the average mama, for the average person. And so what most people do is they tap out before they even start, because they're like, you know what, that already feels way too big, way too dangerous, way out of my comfort zone. So I'm going to go ahead and do nothing, which we call inaction. And it's out of fear, right? So I think what is so important, anytime that you want to achieve something, know what that big audacious goal is. But the key in getting there is to take teeny tiny steps.
Teeny tiny steps.
Yep. It does not have to flip your world upside down. It needs to be 1% better every day, because those 1% add up to big change. And that's what we want big change. And I think the biggest mistake that we make off the top is we go from step 1 to step 95, and we're like, whoa, how about step 2? And so that's always key with my mamas is, are you taking step 2 or step 75?
You know, that's such a valid point, because when we're, you know, I've been in sales for quite a while, and being in the roles that I've been in, you know, you've got goals all the time. They're always setting goals for you. Being able to give projections, what's going to happen? How's your team going to make improvements? How's your numbers going to grow? One of the biggest lessons that I've been learning in my own process today as we work with our clients, and it took me even some time in this process to get into that, Krista, but that was simply this: that the goals will never be reached unless we take the time and understand and investigate what are the habits that are giving us the necessary tools to get there, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And it's usually almost all the time something really, really minimal.
Yeah.
It's simple changes that can be made and make improvements, and all of a sudden the next step happens, and you start to see the individual recognize that this wasn't an issue that I wasn't getting sales. It was a problem that I wasn't complimenting or speaking or building or encouraging my team properly. You see, they weren't having the right motivation, or I thought that what I put in front of them was motivation, because I didn't take the time to understand their motivation.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and there's always a why behind what we're trying to achieve. I mean, you need to have that. We know that the power of why. Mm-hmm. This is absolutely important. But knowing that there's a purpose behind what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what's the motivation, even in the simplest things. And people go, no, this is too much, Rigo. We're not talking about life here, right?
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking, no.
Yeah.
Your career, your family, your health goals, your financial goals, all of these elements are part of your life. This is who you are. So if you don't use this tool everywhere,
yeah,
right?
Totally. And so something that Caitlin just popped in and said was, how do you avoid taking steps 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. at the same time? It's hard not to multitask, especially when there's pressure to move forward quickly. So here is something that I think will benefit Caitlin in her business and being a mom in your health and nutrition is you have to have that big goal. You have to know what we're striving for, right, Rigo?
Yeah.
And so we have that goal, and then I call it backward design goal planning. So you have to know, and listen, I have my
get into that. Help us understand this a little bit.
I have my master's in secondary education. Okay. So before I started K More Macro, which was my business, I went to school and got my master's in secondary education. And as an educator, I have to know how to take a child from where they are and meet certain standards for the state. Well, I have to know what those standards are that I'm meeting. hence the goal. And then I, as a teacher, have to work my way backwards to where the student is so that I know how to bring them back up to that standard, right? So
Yep.
it's super, super important, Caitlin, and anybody else that's watching here, that you know what your standard is, know what the goal is, and that you take the time. This is key, that you take the time to sit down with that goal and you backwards plan to where you are. So if you're on step 2 and you know that your goal is step 75, what are the milestones and the steps that you must take in order to ensure that you meet the standard or the goal? Here's what happens. Here's what 99% of us do. We set the standard or the goal, and then we go, I want to get there in 3 months. And then we have zero plan, zero thought, zero structure, zero framework on how we're going to go from where we are to that standard or to that goal. This is where we end up, if it's a 3-month thing that we set up in 3 months and we're like, oh, didn't get the goal. And then we're upset with ourselves. Well, you didn't set yourself up for success. You had no idea what the mile markers were along the way to ensure that you were headed in that direction. And then that breaks down into our daily habits and our daily behaviors, right? And so that's a really big piece that's missing in goal setting is we know how to set a big goal, no clue how to plan or backward design ourselves into achieving and meeting that goal.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
And it's, I've seen so many studies on this, trainings. There's so much that when you're in a business setting, and I'm sure, as you were going through your education, you saw that as well, right? I mean, I know you had to have, but it's crazy how the simple elements, we talked about this, keeping it super simple.
Yeah.
But it's those basic aspects of like even the words, the power of our words and how we speak in our own life, how we start our mornings. I've seen this is a topic for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. Historically and with the it's just, this is a time of the year that is very frustrating for me because as a young person growing up, this was actually one of the worst times of my life growing up. Around this season, a lot of really terrible things had all happened all around this. As I gotten older and started to build my own family, I even carried that anger, pain, and frustration into the season.
Sure.
Into the end of the year. And it was interesting because this remained a difficult time for me in my life until I realized, and it was my wife that brought it to my attention and says, this is your life now. This is your family. You can create a new season.
Yeah.
You can create a new feeling behind this. You don't need to live in what someone else brought you. And that started a lot for me in my personal change. But in business, everybody's under the gun as the end of the year is happening. How are we going to reach our goals? How are we going to hit our financial numbers? How are we going to be in the position financially where we're going to be able to give our children and our families a memory, whether it's vacation, whether you celebrate Christmas or not? It doesn't matter what it is. This is times where families get together. And so those with families could very well not be looking to the moment that they're going to see other family members are not crazy about. Some that don't have family are like, listen,
no,
I wish I had, somebody to spend the holiday season with. We know depression grows around this time. We know that aspect of feeling burned out. Krista, you and I were talking about this.
Oh,
I mean, you're running how many games a weekend with your kids are you doing on top of running a business and coaching 40 women?
So I was in Vegas. I drove, I flew out. My husband flew in, he drove back. I had 10 ball games 2 weekends ago between my 3 kids. And so this is why, Rigo, it is like insanely important that we know what we want out of this season. I love that you brought this up. It's actually what I'm highlighting with my clients right now in the month of November. And it's this simple question that I ask them. And I hope that everybody watching this asks themselves this question as well. What does winning look like for you right now? Right. And listen, we can do that in our finances. We can do it in our personal life. We can do it in our business. We can do it in our moments with our kids. What does winning look like for me? And then, my friends, you backward design into that These are the things that need to happen in order for me to win, with deadlines at work, with, things that we need to meet for the end of the year. It's super important that you are very clear on, this is what I want, and these are the steps that are going to get me there, so that I'm not trying to skip around and figure it out. You're very focused and very clear. And when we know what we want out of a season, when we know what we want out of a goal, we can now set ourselves up for success. If I can leave our audience with a little nugget or a resource to go to, James Clear, I've read a million how to set yourself up for success goal setting books.
Sure. Yeah.
I've listened to all the podcasts. I have my
Yeah.
education in it.
Yeah.
And James Clear has a book. It's called Atomic Habits. This year will be my 3rd year reading it. I read it every first of the year. And every time that I read it, I get a brand new, like, oh my gosh, because my brain has leveled up another year. And so anybody that's watching this, I want to really encourage you, if goal setting feels difficult, if habits feel difficult, if you feel like you don't know how to set yourself up for success, that is a phenomenal resource. And it's gold. I mean, you've read it, right, Rigo?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Let's just a little disclaimer. Reading. Yeah. The way I read is audible. So that's how I read. Now, what I typically do is once I like a book and it's powerful for me, I order the book. And then I do the audible again now, because for me, I know this may seem, I listen to my books like at a 1.2, 1.3, 1.5 speed. So they sound really stupid, but it's like, and it just goes really fast. But the thing is, that's just how I capture it. It works really well for me. And then I'll be like, wait a second.
Yeah.
And I'll go back. Donnie will tell you a lot of times when we're traveling, Don will come with me. And when we're going to visit clients, or we're getting, going out to do a show or whatnot. And in the car, like, we'll listen to 1 or 2 books.
Yeah.
Like in the drive, and I love that. So I grab the book, I take it, and then I start to write my notes in it and make my points. And then I go through it again. Once the book has impacted, I always listen to it again, and then I slow it down a little bit.
So smart.
So I'm just saying, but again, let's go back to habits, culture, elements, right?
Yeah.
The culture in my life. And I know that maybe this doesn't fit. Maybe it's not the right word, but to me, that's what it means. When I look at how do I build a company culture, when I look at how to build an office culture, how do I get employees to be more engaged? How do I get my family to be more engaged? What is the difference? Right? How do I get myself to be a better leader? How do I get myself to be a better parent? How do I get myself to be a better team player? How do I get myself to be a better spouse? To be a better boyfriend, better girlfriend?
You ask those questions. And that's the thing, Rigo. I feel like I actually just posted this. I get super fired up because I'm like, yes, I just posted this on my Facebook account. Are you listening? And in order to listen to yourself, you have to do what, Rigo? You have to ask questions. So every question that you just asked, we should be sitting down with a journal and asking ourselves those questions. Because here's the thing. We set these expectations of the holidays. We set these expectations of our boss, of our kids, of our spouse, of our employees. We set these expectations, and then we don't communicate them. And we don't really think through, what does a healthy relationship with my employees or my department or my industry, what does that look like for me, for them?
Yep.
And then know what that is so that the expectation can be clear. And then you can communicate that expectation to create an environment and a culture that is what you truly want.
Man, you nailed it. Krista, how many of us right now are putting expectations on people? On somebody, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a friend, a parent, any sort of family member, an employer. I have made years of error of putting myself in a place where I felt backstabbed, or I felt that somebody did me wrong because I put an expectation on them.
They had no clue.
That they had no idea they had been given.
Yeah. And listen to this, Rigo. Think about how many times, because in my belief, this is truly what I believe. I believe God first, me second, my marriage third, my kids, and my business. That's the order in which I have.
Where does the whiskey? I'll into that. Listen, you know where I stand on a good bourbon or whiskey. Where does that fall in any of this? Because that's my problem.
Like that is all four. I mean, I don't think we discriminate, right?
Okay, so God, self,
marriage,
family.
kids. Yep. No, it's very specific.
Okay.
God, me,
so
husband, my children,
love
and
it.
My business.
Yeah, okay? That's so important.
And here's why. I have to be above everybody else, because when mama fills her cup and when mama feels good, guess what? I turn around and I serve my family, my employees, my clients, my people, my God in an incredible and an impactful and energized and authentic way. When I don't fill my cup first, I'm crap. I'm not good.
For the longest time, when we've all flown, and when you get on an airplane and you see, if you're actually that bored that you've run out of things to look at and read, you'll actually read the book.
Yeah.
The emergency
manual.
Whatever. Yeah. Welcome to the, man, it's been so long since I traveled. I don't remember the plane types anymore. That's sad. I used to have these memorized. I don't know if that's sad, actually. I was like, oh, it's a blah, blah, blah plane. We're fine.
Yeah, now they call it bus, like a bus, Airbus.
Well, that's a different type. Okay, so each one. Anyways, I don't want to get into that. Those of you guys who travel, you know what I'm talking about. You knew which plane you were getting on. You knew, okay, my bag's fine, my bag's not fine. Like, you knew what the flight was going to be like. All right, so let me get into this. You get on a plane, and now what you're doing is what? You're sitting there, you're reading it, and what's it tell you? It says, in the case of an emergency, oxygen mask will fall from the ceiling. You need to put this on first.
Yeah.
You need to put the oxygen mask on you first. Now, I'm thinking, my children are with me. No way in hell I'm not going to take care of them first. Later in my life, I'm starting to realize a lot of things. And, I've heard some pretty awesome stuff where somebody would say, the leaders eat last.
Yeah.
No, that's backwards.
If you're not there to listen,
the king eats first.
Yeah. My husband is in a really big fire department here. And it used to really bother me when he was a booter and he was new to the job. The booters, the new guys on they ate last. As a matter of fact, a lot of times they didn't even get to eat because the chiefs and the captains would eat first, and then the firemen, and then the booters. And so he'd get like 3 bites in. And as soon as a captain stood up, then
it was time to go.
Yeah. And so he got and it used to make me so upset. And like you said, in wisdom and in growth, I'm like, no, if the leaders are not at the top of their game, how do they lead the people? Right.
And I see the thought process in this, right? It's listen, if I'm going to lead, I'm going to lead by example, or I'm going to show the sacrifice. But no, that's absolutely, and this is an opinion, but from what I have seen, and there is lots of understanding and study, especially if you look back at history, the generals led from the front. The amazing warriors were the ones in the front. They were also the ones that ate first. They were also the ones that got the best of the spoils. There's a reason why you lead. There's a reason why you are the head of your family. There's a reason why you have a responsibility as a parent, as a spouse. And you're absolutely right. I'm excited because in just a few months, my wife and I will be married 20 years. Now, we've been together for 23, 24. I'm 42, 20 years.
Yeah. You're almost married to her longer than you have been without her.
Yep. I have been with my wife longer than my memory can remember.
Yeah.
Right. Because, I can remember some years when I'm young. High school was pretty much a blur due to a lot of recreational activities.
Like swimming.
Like swimming and soccer. And I was a wrestler.
Studying.
Yeah, studying. Lots of deep thought studying. I got Donnie's just shaking his head over here like, come on.
So funny.
But no, you get to this place where you feel that is how you show love and leadership, but that's actually incorrect. Why? We don't take care of our bodies. We don't take care of our relationships.
Right.
We don't take care of our businesses because what are we doing, right? Jesse talked about this last week on the show, and he talked about the imbalance. We are not putting time in for our spirituality.
Yeah.
I don't care what your faith is, or if you don't have faith, you have a makeup in you that needs that time to be with the voice that helps guide you through elements of your life.
Yeah.
Whether that's in meditation, you're hiking, you're going to the river, each of us need that time in meditation, in thought, in that building of our spiritual self. Then the next element is your body. Mm-hmm. And there are times where I'm not where I want to be in my life, but I am not letting it fall to the wayside.
Right.
I'm eating healthy. I'm taking nutrition. And I'm making sure that time is invested there. Today, I'm building a company. There's more time in my company today. But when I'm with my family, how am I investing that time with them? Yeah. Because it doesn't always have to be a complete balance. Trying to have a balanced life is not possible.
No.
That's not the way it was designed. It's knowing that each element needs to have its energy and importance.
Totally.
So we look at eating first. You look at the captains would eat. Why? Because they're the leaders.
Yeah.
It's not because they're better. It's because they're leading.
Yeah. Right? And I think too, Rigo, to your point is that, when we talk about expectations and setting expectations, right. And being crystal clear on what we want, we have to set those expectations within ourselves too. Right. And I think a lot of times when we fall, when we feel unworthy, when we feel like we're not good enough, when we feel like we are failing, a lot of times that keeps us stuck and keeps us down because we don't even have an expectation. We don't even know what is realistic for me and what is the expectation for me. Like, listen, right now, grinding it out and putting in that extra energy in your business is the season that you're in. It's not where you'll always be, but right now some things have to shift. But if we don't have an awareness of that, then we have this expectation that we have to spin the 52 plates. And when we can't spin the 52 plates, then we beat ourselves up. Yeah. And then we're like, I don't know why I'm so upset or angry or mad or frustrated or overweight or failing at my job. Well, you're not understanding the expectation of where you are.
So, go ahead. Keep going because you're getting my brain going.
It's really important that in goal setting, we also set expectations and that we have a conversation with ourselves on realistic, like what can I realistically achieve with it? I'll give you an example right now. We're going into a season of eating, and I'm just going to bring this back to, that's what I do. We're going into a season of eating, and I have a roster of clients that believe because anytime they've ever been on a diet, it's I must lose weight all the time or I fail. That's the mindset, right? If I'm not losing weight, I fail, I suck, I'm unworthy, I'll never get to where I want to go. But there is a season where losing weight is not the top priority. Maintaining can be just as important of a win as losing, because the opposite of losing weight during this season is gaining. Is gaining. That would be headed in the wrong direction. And so I have to shift their mind. Like, listen, know the expectation, have the conversation with yourself. Like you just said, what do I want out of this goal? What do I want out of this season, out of this holiday? God.
That's
right?
So important. Okay. So so you're in nutrition, health, wellness, both mental, physical, spiritual, you're in a full encompassing wellness of the body and person. This is how you are able to have the people within your program reach success.
Yep.
I just shared with you a message I got from a client recently that absolutely touched me. I'm glad I didn't read it 5 minutes before the program started, because I was like, wow.
Too. Me
right.
Too.
And you were sharing the same thing about these messages. And what is it? It's the fact that what we're doing and the passion of why we're doing this is changing someone's life.
Yeah.
And if we're impacting people positively that way, then we know we're doing the right thing. Yeah. And there's got to be more to why we're doing it. Why do I bring this up? This is why I bring this up. In a simple goal, I was up late as I'm getting ready to build my own forecast for my team and get it over to my CPA. As we're getting things done for our business, I'm putting the numbers together. Yeah, it looks great. I know where I want to go. I'm setting my goals. But now what? How do I get there? Your process of reverse engineering that goal aspect. Okay, some of us understand that. Some of us don't. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, if any of this is new, let us know. Drop it in the comments. Let us know what's going on. At the same time, I want to let you guys know here quickly. This is Lunch Talk. By the way, episode number 18, Krista.
So fun.
Episode number 18. We've done 30 episodes of the ATF show, but we're really proud of this. Donnie and I, we've come a long way from sitting on my deck.
Yeah, I remember the deck.
Yeah. You remember the deck where it would just go for hours. People just would jump on, and 3-4 hours later, and I'm 2 bottles in. And anyways, listen.
It's a good time.
It's a good time. It's a good time. But I'm going somewhere with this. I promise. I'm going somewhere with all of this. Live from a solar farm in North Texas. Lunch break. Thank you, Brian. We appreciate that you're being here.
Yeah.
So where I'm going is when we understand and recognize that we have a purpose and into each and every element that we're doing. I think you said something the other day, Krista, to me, which was, and it may have been on one of our other calls, but it was doing something with intent, right? It was having that intention of when you're moving forward, when you're making a decision, and an understanding why you're doing that. It's going to change everything around you, because what will start to happen is when you look at the little habits as you reverse engineer this process, you need to reverse engineer the areas that did not work. Mm-hmm. Because in those steps that did not work are micro and macro steps that need to be removed or corrected.
Yeah. So you know what we call that, Rigo?
Tell me, Krista, what do we call that?
Well, I coined a term for that. I call it, I'm pretty sure this is not in the dictionary. I call it shiveting.
Okay, so is it shifting and something else? Tell me, it was shiveting.
It's shiveting. So we are shifting and pivoting. So we can backward design something. And then when we run into a roadblock, we don't just stand there and look at the pothole and go, oh man, that's really unfortunate. That looks like a deep hole and I should not step in that. No, we go, okay, time to shift and pivot, which I call shivot. And do I go over it? Do I go around it? Do I try to go under it? Do I just freaking truck right through it? What do? I don't stop and go, oh man, that sucks. Unfortunate for me. Looks like my destiny is to be a blob of unhealthy fat on the couch. No. That's giving ourselves an out. And that's allowing ourselves to be a train wreck that we have chosen not to be anymore, because our goal says no more train wrecks.
That's right. No, it's right. And just like you said, in I would say in your area of work, in health and in fitness, it would almost, I think you have such a great opportunity to represent this in such an amazing way, because you can look at it from a caloric intake or, right? You can, everything that someone eats or does has a value to it. Mm-hmm. And so I think from business and in a business aspect, we're forgetting to create a value or place the value that we haven't identified it, because everything has a value.
Yep. Totally.
We haven't given it its value so that we can identify the data and understand how to make these corrective moves that are needed. It just keeps coming back more and more where I have come to realize that goals mean nothing without investment in our habits that create the dynamic of the environment in our lives and the culture that we are allowing or not allowing to build. Listen, from an employee standpoint, you're in the same spot. If you are allowing yourself to be in a dynamic, in a culture that is not building in you the opportunity to be the best of who you are. And I'm not saying, oh, you're making me work too hard. I'm talking about, are they giving you the fuel, the mentorship, the fire, the ability to learn, the ability to make mistakes, grow again? Not every place is going to be perfect, but if the culture in that environment is drawing and sucking the literal energy out of your life, then every other aspect beyond that will not reach the level that it needs to. And if you get there, how much did you have to sacrifice in order to do it? Is there a family member or family or life that no longer knows you exist right? Is
Yep.
there a spiritual element that has completely fallen to the wayside and you are now depleting the resources from other areas of your life? Health, family, well-being, spirituality. I mean, the list you guys goes on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I speaking something here? Is this crazy or?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true, right? It impacts everything. And we can bring that even back to the business world, right? Like there are times in business where we see the wheels, we see the roadblock, we see the wheels starting to come off, even if it's with an employee or with an energy, how that has shifted into our office. And instead of evaluating it and going, okay, do we need to shift and pivot right now? Is this something that we don't, because we get busy with other things. And then all of a sudden something's festering in our office or something's festering within an employee. And if we like slow it down and look at it, we're like, well, there was a time to shift and pivot or to have a hard conversation that we just chose not to have. And here we are. Right. And what's really cool.
Would you call it again? Shivit?
Shivit.
Shivit.
I have a whole video on shiveting.
Hey, listen, what we do in private is none of your damn business.
It's true, but I don't do money things in private. I'm like, you want to know about my shivit? Here we go. Let's go.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Yeah,
bring it on. I'm sorry. I did not mean to interrupt. I can't help myself.
No, you will learn.
The little boy pops out when you say words like shivit.
Listen, we make up a lot of words.
Donnie's just sitting here shaking his head at me in pure disappointment.
Listen, we make up a lot of words in our family. Just I don't know why, but so my kids are not allowed to swear. Obviously, they're under 13, so we keep the swear words at a minimum. And so when they want to say that they want to kick ass, they'll tell me, "Mom, I'm going to go kick some astronaut in this game today," and I'm like, "Go get it, my man." And so we make up a lot of words around here. And if that helps you be better in life, then we just make up the words.
Caitlin says, shiveting. I think you have to say it 5 times fast. I think we have to put it like in a, can you put it in a sentence, Alex?
Yes. Do it, Alex.
Yeah. So, what we're going to get into for this month. So the series that we're going to be getting into this month, and you know what, guys, I'll be honest with you. I needed a little bit of a break, and I know Krista, we've been really busy and we had a great series. By the way, the PDF is about done. We decided to go back. I did. We, as in me, the team was ready. They're waiting on me. I'm the last one. I'm just going to put that out there. I mean me. They had everything ready. The digital elements ready to go. It's just waiting for my content, but we got such great nuggets.
Yeah.
From the speakers.
I know. Did you see what Brian said?
Yeah. I shivered around some of the things my wife says. That's funny.
Oh, Brian.
Your
sweet wife.
Yeah. But we got so much good content out of that. I was like, you know what? I want to go back. And Krista, you were such a part of this with me. I really think we should step back for a moment and just, I guess we could get it out, but there was just elements I wanted to put in. I wanted to take some of those nuggets and bring them into the conversation because some great stuff got brought up. And it was just a tremendous time for us. I learned so much. There was so much value that came out of it. I'm so pumped about this next element of series. So I figured for the part 1, this was you and I really just kind of getting things warmed up, getting the group warmed up. And of course, we're still working through the system and figuring out what's the best way to get this out to you, to make sure that you have the ability to catch and participate. But are we good, Donnie? Oh, okay. I keep telling, man, you put your hand up peripherally. Like I think something's
like you
wrong.
need a bathroom
right?
break or something.
Yeah. Like something wrong, something about to happen. Am I offline and not know? Like, Rigo, we're off the air. Hey, you're talking to nobody. But yeah, so getting into the topic of goals, habits, and creating the positive culture is absolutely important. And I believe, especially for the month of November, and this is why, because we have to prepare ourselves. You guys, it is November 4th. If I do my math right, we're 57 days, I think. We'll have to do it, but 57 days, 50 some odd days to the end of the year. How are you going to get the momentum in your life right now to break even, gain ground on something you didn't do, or hit the goals that you have already been pushing towards? Yeah. I love what you said, Krista. winning doesn't necessarily mean losing.
Right. Yes.
Right. If you're trying to gain revenue, winning could be, I didn't gain revenue, but I didn't lose revenue. Or, I had this conversation with another one of our clients, which was, are you looking at the right metrics for success?
Yeah.
If employees in our industry, most of them typically stick around 18, 24 months and they move to another company. It's very common, right, especially with traveling technicians. If you've got guys that are staying longer, that's a win.
Yeah. And you know what,
guys, right?
Yeah. When you can point those things out, when you can, as an employer, as a department head, when you can highlight those pieces for your people, that's where the positive environment, that's where that piece is created. It's not in slaying goal after goal after goal after goal. That's not where the culture is shifted and created. The culture is people will stay with you because they're like, listen, we hit goals.
That's
because
right.
we have clarity and vision, because
right.
the person who's leading us is encouraging us. They're bringing in fire and energy and motivation, and they've got my back. That's how you break glass ceilings, and that's how you meet goals. We think the opposite. I got to push, grind, beat up. And what happens is people are like, you know what? This is exhausting. I'm going to go in 18 months, 15 months to somewhere else where they're not doing this to me. And they might eventually start doing that to me, but at the beginning they won't.
Well,
so
yeah,
don't get people to stay.
That's it. And so, measuring our values of success, I had less costs invested in having to hire new employees. Mm-hmm. I had less stress happening because I invested more into my employees that I have, and they're giving me better performance. Mm-hmm. I have more rest. I'm spending more time with myself and my family. I'm reaching other elements of my life that I'm getting back while still maintaining growth in our business, while still maintaining growth in our goals. I'm reaching my health goal. I'm reaching my exercise goal. I'm reaching my sleep goal. Yeah. My God. So on the 18th, we have a sleep expert who's going to be on. You know him, Krista, Mr. Steve. Yeah. Steve Adams will be on. This guy has an insane, absolute. So serial entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, sold his last company for, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but lots and lots of money.
For not pennies.
For not pennies. The guy knows what he's doing. And in the process of that, almost killed himself doing it. And now has dedicated his entire life to bringing health awareness and education back into people like us. And, we talked about this flight or fight. And when you start to understand and look at what happens to our bodies chemically when we are pushing ourselves, managers, directors, owners, entrepreneurs, even young people. Yeah. When you're putting yourself in these situations where you're always pushing yourself to the max, you don't realize what you're doing to your body and the significance of rest and how we're missing some of the simple things. Again, we go back to the habit. Where somebody's just not sleeping enough. And it is literally the catalyst behind the entire aspect of what's not going right.
Yeah. And, I love what you just brought up, Rigo, especially with Steve coming on, is when we set goals, any goal that we set financially or in a business or a personal goal, a weight loss goal, one of the other things that we have to contemplate and understand is what is the cost to get there? And then we have to ask ourselves, am I willing to pay the price to reach that cost? And I'll bring it back and I'll share a quick personal story with you. I did a bodybuilding show in 2017, and it was my goal to get on a bodybuilding stage and to win the plastic trophy. I don't know why that was important to me at the time, but it was, right?
And those pictures are awesome, by the way. I was like, damn, girl, them guns.
I've got a little leftover. But
I love it. I love it. Anyways, get back to it. Sorry.
Here's what happened in that. I set this goal. And so this is what happens. People come to me and they're like, I want to lose 100 pounds. And they don't need to lose 100 pounds to be happy and healthy, but that's the goal that they've set up in their mind. And I say, okay, let's start. And as we get into this health and weight loss goal, and they realize that in order to, they could have lost 75 and felt really healthy and been comfortable and happy in their skin, but to lose that extra 25 or to get to that 100, that's not necessary. Then they start to realize what the cost is. So when I did my bodybuilding show, I got to where I wanted. I was in the single digit body fat. I got second place on a stage for the first time performing ever. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know they made swimsuits that small. And when I stepped away and I evaluated the cost that it took me to achieve this goal, I was like, wow, I'm not willing to pay that price. I started getting into disordered eating. I started binging and restricting. I went into a very dark place in my brain that I'd never gone to before with my food. And I was like, whoa, that's a cost I'm not willing to pay. I'm not going to do that ever again. I'm not going to do that again. Right. And so when we're setting these goals and they're big and we want to get there, we also have to ask ourselves, what's the cost? What is, because listen, if you have a business goal, it's going to cost your family something. If you have a weight loss goal, it's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you energy and effort. You have to know what the cost is that is alignment with that goal. And this is what Steve will speak on, right?
Yep.
Because that's where burnout comes in.
Yep.
We don't evaluate the cost and then we're nose deep in it and we're like, this is not what I was willing to sign up for, right?
This is where we understand how to have a positive shivot.
Yes. Yes.
Right. This is, we're talking about a positive shivot. Positive shivot.
Yes.
Oh, Donnie.
We need shivot shirts.
Yeah, we need Be the Buffalo.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Maybe on the back it says Be the Buffalo. On the front it says, join me in a shivot, or don't let me shit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you finally got it. It took you like 4 tries. No, it's so important that we're getting into this. And what you're saying right there is such another aspect of how to shift, how to shivot, but essentially in this aspect of our goals and understanding this constant change. I had this conversation with another gentleman. In the world that we live in, Krista, we're always talking to somebody.
Yes.
So we always have reference points, right?
Yep.
I was having this conversation. I was talking to so-and-so, and one of the principal values of our company here, and we had this discussion internally with the team when we said, what are our core values of who we are? Change is constant.
Yeah.
Literally, that's part of what our mantra is: change is constant. Like nothing is going to stay the same. It cannot. We have to question it all the time. This is the price we're paying today. We understand the work we're putting in as we build a company. We're building a company. We're doing something that is not being done very much, period. And we're definitely not seeing it in our industry. So we're paving the way of something that's very, very new. It's a lot of challenges. But understanding how to get somewhere, reach the goal, put in all the work we wanted to get to the point, but then have to understand this may not be what I was actually wanting. I thought I did. Yeah. I thought I did. And not looking at that as failure. That is massive, massive success.
Absolutely. And here's the
massive success.
Sometimes we don't know till we get into it.
You won't know till you get into it, right?
Yeah. Sometimes we just don't know where we need to shift and pivot until we're in it. And so listen, I don't come in like the dream killer. We've got those people in our world. We have this dream we're excited about and they just kill it. And you're like, I have a few people in my life that I call dream killers, right? When somebody comes to me with their dream, I don't kill their dream. I say, yes, girl, set that goal. Yes, set that goal. But it's through coaching and mentoring, which we talked about in our last series. That they realize themselves. We have to come to that conclusion ourselves. And it only happens through getting in and experiencing it and getting messy and deciding, because a lot of times we haven't even been, face to face with these decisions before, and then making a decision and shifting and pivoting in a way that continues to help us feel growth and success and alignment with our goals, right?
Have to.
Yeah, for sure.
No, so it's going to be good. And Krista, I'm really glad that you're a part of the program too. You guys, listen, if you're watching, do me a favor, as always, just drop a hashtag live. If you're watching this after the live event, hashtag replay, let us know. Listen, we want to know in the comments. And one of the things Donald had actually brought up, we want to get your questions. We'll be happy to bring those on to the next live program. We'll answer them live. We'll get into it. We'll even go through some of the comments or reactions, but we want to hear from you. Here's what we're asking. If you're in North America, US or Canada, do us a favor. Text hashtag lunch to 316-799-8052. 316-799-8052. Last week, I appreciate you guys. There was quite a few of you that got on to community and joined that. And if you've noticed, you didn't get another text other than welcome. Why? Because it is literally a program that I use here just to communicate with you and let you know what's going on and let you know when we're dropping the next one. If not, here's the other element. We ask you to message us, send us a message, let us know for all of our international folks, and we'll put you on an email list specifically just to give you notification that we're going live. Okay? It's that simple. Please come be a part of the community. We want to see you and we want to know that you're out there. And so Dave dropped a good one. He said, how do you find, and I'm assuming your goal, how do you find your goal? Chris, I'm going to give you a minute on this one and let you take a snap at it.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the questions that you asked yourself. I'm a really big pen and paper person. I love those big Post-it boards, that you have. I've seen you use them in your office. You slam them all over the wall and you go through. So I like to write down focus points. So I want to be better professionally, personally, spiritually, financially, nutritionally. I know what my pillars are in my own world that I want to find success in. So that's step number one is know where you want to be better or know what's important to you. And then I have goals for each one of those pillars, like life pillars of mine. And then I ask myself exactly what you said earlier, Rigo, like, what is important to me? What do I want my relationship with my husband, with my kids, with my friends, with my coworkers? What do I want relationships to look like? And then I jot those down. And I'll be honest with you, my relationship goals are so different now than they were in my 20s.
Constant change, right?
Constant change and pivoting and shiveting, right?
No, it's just shivet. Listen, if you watch the program later down the road and you didn't watch this one, you're going to be, what the hell are they saying? The rest of you will know.
And they're going to be Googling.
That's it.
Urban
like
Dictionary.
if they see a hashtag, damn it, Donnie, we know they're old school, or if they talk about the yodeling pickle.
Yep. Yes. So that would be step one. Know what areas.
That's for you, Dave.
You want to know what areas you want to have goals in. Number two, what is important to you? What does winning look like? And you can ask yourself the opposite question. What does losing look like? Because sometimes it's hard for us to know what we want, but we know what we don't want, right? I don't want to argue with my kids. I don't want to feel tension with my husband. I don't want to put on weight. I don't want to lose employees. I don't want to be frustrated with my boss. So then in knowing what we don't want, we can come up with what we do want. So if you're struggling with the, what do I want? What is my goal? Then let's line out what you don't want. And then we can work our way into what we do want. So that would be how I would start it off, how I would kick it off. Now, in order to get those goals, we have to have those habits, but that's going to be a whole nother episode that we'll dive into because there's a structure, there's buy-in that we can set up for ourselves in order to reach those goals, right?
I'm sorry, I'm smiling because Dave's just...
Dave, he's giving you a virtual chest bump.
Yeah, he's giving me like, what up, bro? Yeah, I love Dave. No, I was trying to hurry up and type, how do you leave a job you don't like, you don't feel supported or challenged, but it's an easy paycheck. Been ready to leave for years, but I'm not sure the next step. Okay, beautiful. I want to take this one on. You good?
Yeah, do it. Yeah. Okay,
so I just had this conversation with again, here we go. I just had this conversation with another friend. Okay, here's one of the things I learned and I looked at. Number one, we're going to use logic and data. Why? Because that's the number one way to get things out before we enter our emotional element. Yes. And emotion is going... What's that, girl? What's that?
I love that. That's so good. I love it.
Okay. All right. So number one, you lay out pros and cons, everything. Okay. Finances, travel time, home with family, you name it. All the different things that need to be done. But then you also, in the cons, you have to put in place, what are you not taking advantage of? Okay. Because here's one of the things that we do. A lot of times we get to a place where we're like, oh, I'm not happy. I'm miserable. But let's say we had a different goal. Let's say we wanted to go and learn to play golf while getting some time for ourselves and in getting exercise and spending time with us. Maybe we wanted to get involved in a mixed martial art, and I'm talking old people here, all of us. So we're doing things like, softball or things where we're not going to get broken, right? But the idea is those were goals that we had wanted or an area we wanted to take advantage of. And we have a job that's giving us the opportunity to do it, but we're not doing it.
So good.
So before you look at how miserable the moment of where you are in right now is, literally look at this from pure data and logic from the outside saying, have I taken advantage of every opportunity given to me in this position right now to grow myself? You see, sometimes we're in the roles or the place we are mentally, emotionally, and physically because we are, again, missing other aspects in our life that are not being fulfilled. And so what do? We attack the first thing that causes us a level of pain. We spend most of our time at work. It's got to be work.
Yes. Can I tap in on this just a
Please?
second?
And I still have more to this too. So go ahead, girl.
Yeah, really quick. So we will say that it's got to be the job and Jesse talks about this all the time, there's a root to why you're feeling what you're feeling. And so the job, the frustration, the break room, the whatever it is, those are the branches of your work tree. And you're trying to cut off, because listen, if you don't deal with the root of why you're miserable or what's not working for you in that job, and you go to a new job, guess what's going to grow out of your tree? The same problems, my friend, the same issues. No, you have to address the root of what's going on. And what's
my God. Yeah. It's just like marriage and any relationship. That's exactly right.
Because where your focus goes is where your fruit grows, right?
That's it. That's it. Like right now in my life, I'll be completely transparent. There are things that I want to accomplish in my life right now. I am in control of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not hitting what I want. I'm not looking at a position and saying, I don't like where I'm at and I'm unhappy and I'm miserable. Now I am tired. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner and you're building something, you get me. It's been a long year. It's been a great year. And I've had to do the same thing. I have to go back and look at what have you accomplished? Now let's look at the other side. Okay. That was the side that says, maybe you need to take a better look right now at the privileges that you currently have and what you're not taking advantage of. Mm-hmm. So maximize it first. Get everything you can out of the situation where you can say one thing. Does the moment you're in, the place you're in today, does it help you, right? Is it feeding you? Is it purposeful for you anymore? If it no longer serves you, then it's time to make the shift, but you will mentally and emotionally be there because you have maxed out every opportunity and resource. It becomes an easy decision.
Yeah.
Now you're stuck in the spot. Let's go to the other side. You take a look at all this. You look at the information. You lay it out, you look at your pros and cons, you give them the value they need to, literally give them a score. What does it matter for you? Emotional, mentorship, opportunity, growth, being close to home, not close to home, hours. I don't care what it is. Whatever the area is, give it a score, 1 through 10. Give it a score 1 through 10. Give it a value. What does it mean? It doesn't have to be even or odd. Or I'm telling you guys, this is very basic. Give it a score. Now, take your emotion. What are you feeling? What about the people that you're with, the company you're around, the culture you're around? What other opportunities are there? Let me tell you, one of the most powerful things I've seen is just the ability for somebody to go and look and get that fire again. I built this company almost 4 years ago. And I've started 2 or 3 other types of businesses and I regret none of them. If you guys know me, I've gotten into other things in the process. Why? Because I wasn't sure what I was doing was the right thing. And I wasn't afraid of what other people thought. So I brought it out. I went into it. And what I got out of that was incredible. I wouldn't be in the moment I am right now in my life if I hadn't have taken those steps and journeys, but I had to process everything first. Yeah. You got it. And then you get to the next step and do it again. Change is constant. Always reevaluate. To look back, just like if you're running a company or business, if you have to look at the financials and say, are we doing this right? Oh, great. Yay. We hit a great year. Okay. Did we really hit a great year or did we just make more money than last year?
Yeah. What was the culture? What is the energy? What is the longevity of it?
What was the true opportunity that we missed and don't know it because we're looking at a growth. We're not actually looking at the potential. And maybe we're just at the right place at the right time. So it was easy to make money. But next year, everything changes. The financial markets change. The how many trillions of dollars thrown into our economy is about to kick us in the ass in 2022 and 2023. And all of a sudden, guess what? It's not easy to make money anymore. This is where I'm at. This is how you look at the opportunity, Isaac. So to answer your question, how do you leave a job you don't like? Number one, why don't you like it? What is it you don't like about the job? And where do you want to go? Is it just going to be the same thing somewhere else? Are you achieving what you're looking to do and what's the best of it? Here's the other thing I'll tell you too is if you want to look at something else, go start looking, start studying, go figure it out. Find out how to do it on the weekends and the evenings. Go figure out a way to get involved with what you are interested in to grow yourself, because guess what? You might just figure out it's not really what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need the opportunity to learn, and then we become fulfilled in that process. And it teaches something to us, and then we grow.
Yeah.
This is all about that culture, right?
So good. Yeah, totally. I think too, and like you just said, if you go and you look, I've done that a few times before. I've gone and I've looked and I've been like, maybe not. Never mind. I don't think so. I think I'm going to stay right over here.
I think I'm good.
Working at Starbucks looked fun because they put on Christmas music and everybody was like, hey, Krista, hey, Jane. And then I was like, wait, 4:30 in the morning? How many days a week? No, I'm good. Go back to my PJs in my office.
Yep. All right. Listen, it is the top of the hour. We just hit 2:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. I want to let you guys know, Krista, thank you very much. As always, the most amazing and beautiful, wonderful co-host, Krista Moreland. Donnie, little round of applause. Thank you very much. I'm excited that you're here, Krista. I cannot wait to see what the rest of the program looks like the rest of the month. Again, we've got some incredible guests already confirmed. We're in the process of booking the rest of the month up. We will be doing a show next week on Avengers Day, same time. We will be doing on the 18th as well. As we get into Thanksgiving, because it is Thursday, we will be doing the show on Wednesday prior. So we'll do a Wednesday show. Okay. Maybe we'll do a best of. No, I'm kidding. It'll be live. Krista, we'll talk about that later. But otherwise, listen, you guys, I'm glad you're here. Again, we want to hear from you. If you're international and you can't be a part of the community, then send us a message. Let us know who you are. We'll contact you, or Donnie will get a hold of you. We'll get your email. We'll add you to the list, and then you'll be notified when we go live. Those of you who are in the North American continent, please do us a favor. Text lunch to 316-799-8052. I'm Rigo Murillo, Krista Moreland. We're here with Lunch Talk. This was episode 18, and don't miss the rest of the month as we get into this, the goals, the habits, and the culture around us. And I cannot wait for you to hear from our guest speakers as they bring years of experience on what they did, how they did it, where they failed, and how they brought success to where they are today. I hope this stuff will be important for you, just like it is for us. Krista, thank you very much.
Yes, you got it. Have a great day, y'all.
All right, you guys. See you later. Thank you very much for being here.